Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to Linfa, former U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he held a phone conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, during which he proposed a short-term ceasefire in Ukraine. Trump described the conversation as very good and expressed optimism that Putin might adopt the suggestion. The call, which lasted over 90 minutes, also covered the issue of Iran, with Trump stating that Putin wished to be involved in resolving the Iranian uranium enrichment problem. Trump, however, suggested Putin focus on ending the Ukraine conflict. Russian presidential aide Yuri Ushakov confirmed Putin told Trump that Russia was prepared to implement a ceasefire during Victory Day, a suggestion Trump supported. Ushakov characterized the dialogue as frank and pragmatic. According to Dozavon, the protracted U.S.-Israel-Iran conflict has entered its third month. On Wednesday, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that the United States and Iran are engaged in telephone negotiations, stressing that Iran must explicitly commit to completely abandoning its nuclear weapons program. Simultaneously, US media reports indicate that Trump recently informed his staff that he is prepared for a long-term naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Trump reportedly views this long-term blockade as a low-risk option compared to a full-scale bombing campaign or a complete withdrawal from the conflict. This strategy suggests the U.S. might be ready for a prolonged war of attrition against Iran, aiming to cut off its oil exports and economic lifeline to force concessions on the nuclear issue. Trump also rejected Iran's proposed temporary agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for an end to the U.S. blockade, while temporarily shelving core nuclear negotiations, deeming it a lack of sincerity. He warned that failure to reach an agreement would result in the destruction of Iran's remaining missiles and defense systems. The U.S. Justice Department announced Wednesday that it has indicted 10 current and former Mexican officials on drug trafficking charges, UPI reports. Among those charged is Ruben Rocha Moya, the current governor of Sinaloa state. The officials are accused of partnering with the notorious Sinaloa cartel to facilitate the distribution of vast quantities of narcotics into the United States, engaging in corruption and bribery. As the New York Times reported, Governor Rocha Moya has vehemently denied the allegations, stating they are entirely false and without foundation, and accusing the U.S. government of violating Mexico's sovereignty. The charges include narcotics importation conspiracy and weapons-related offenses, carrying potential sentences of up to life in prison. One defendant, Juan Valenzuela Millan, faces additional charges related to kidnapping, which carry a mandatory life sentence if convicted. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has announced that his country will significantly increase its long-range attacks against Russia. According to NHK, these strikes are specifically targeting energy-related facilities in Russia. The objective is to prevent Russia from generating funds to finance its ongoing invasion of Ukraine and to reduce the capabilities of Russia's military industry, logistics, and oil exports. Zelenskyy stated on social media that Ukraine is entering a new stage in the use of Ukrainian weapons to limit the potential of Russia's war, and justified these long-range strikes as necessary responses to Russian terror. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin, in response to these attacks, criticized Ukraine on Tuesday, stating that it has resorted to openly terrorist methods. Putin also claimed that Ukraine is losing territory daily and is adjusting its tactics accordingly. According to Thai Sounds, a bipartisan bill, the Connected Vehicle Security Act, was introduced by U.S. Senators Bernie Moreno, R. Ohio, and Alyssa Slotkin, D. Michigan, on Wednesday, 4/29. This legislation aims to prohibit the import of Chinese-made cars, parts, and in-vehicle software, as well as similar products from other adversarial nations. The move came weeks before a scheduled meeting between then-President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Notably, Trump had previously suggested openness to Chinese automakers entering the U.S. market earlier that year. Senator Slotkin indicated that the upcoming summit was a key motivator for the bill, as lawmakers closely monitored potential agreements. While Senator Moreno praised Trump's support for American car manufacturers, he stated that he did not anticipate the specific measure to be a topic of discussion at the summit. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.